Hello, this is Rogue. I play Medic in Highlander, and I've been playing an invite for the past, I don't know, maybe 5 odd seasons in RGL, famously with Man Crush Monday. Even before RGL, I was with teams like Boat Team and UGC Platinum, so I go back years and years, and studying demos is one of my favorite hobbies. Yeah, I'm a lot of fun at parties. So, anyway, I'm excited to be spending this time with you, Maven. Thanks for having me on.
If you haven't seen the channel before, I'm Maven. I'm the guy who's just going to be kind of tagging along and asking questions so everyone can understand and have a generally good time during this review. Yeah, that's my whole role. So, do you want to give context to this before we start, or do you want to just jump into it?
Yeah, I think that would be great. So, for everyone watching back home, this demo is from the Season 6 Grand Finals in Invite between Man Crush Monday and Krusty Krab Esports. And I wanted to do this demo in particular because this is showing some, medic gameplay of what it's like to play against some of the best players in North America, some of the best players in the world. And also because I believe their soldier, JJ Slim, got something like 13 medic picks on me in this game. But having 13 deaths in a half is already kind of high, and I had 13 deaths to only soldier, let alone everyone else. So I thought it'd be really nice to sit down together and go over how you play, first in grand finals, and second when your kind of back is against the wall and you can't really get in the game with the soldier. So that's the context for this demo that I brought today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And so just explain to us what a general rollout, I guess, looks like. Because that's obviously the first thing that a medic does.
Yep, buffing demo is the most important part for their own jump. I actually should be speed boosting Scout more here, but I'm trying mostly to give as many heals as I can to the rest of my team. Can you pause here?
Yeah. Can you explain what you mean by speed boosting Scout?
Sure. So our demo is going to be jumping to mid, so they get the first buff. After that, if I latch onto our Scout, I get their speed boost because of one of the medic buffs from 2016 or something like that. So I get extra speed and I get to mid earlier. And I wanted to pause here as well because in general, it's better to go out of the shutter right away, really quickly. But you saw that I kind of failed my rollout a little bit, and I didn't get a lot of speed boost on my Scout. So since I was so far back, I said, you know what? Their focus fire is on the shutter. If I go through it, I'm taking the same damage as everyone else. So I actually just baited my entire team, and that way I get to keep health for myself, and they get to kind of convince me, should I come out or should I not? And just now you'll see in the kill feed and on the bottom left with the players who are alive, the sniper just went down. So if I know me, and I hope I do, I will start committing only now that the sniper is dead.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Snipers are terrible. Okay, let's see what's next.
As medic, you are your own best spy checker. So you saw as I committed out of that shutter, not only was I checking for spy, but also the soldier happened to be committing too. Mid-fight is a lot of times like death by 1,000 cuts. There's so much health in Highlander, so by throwing all of these arrows at our heavy, getting 75 health every single bow is going to keep them alive very well.
It's like you're using right away as well.
We had just dropped their medic, and I knew that our players were about to die, so I actually didn't need to force there, but I thought it would be better to save our players. We actually end up going down anyway, so it seems like it was kind of the right play just to keep ourselves in the fight, which we would have lost regardless.
Yeah, it looks like you just got a saw there, so you do have uber advantage still.
This is a bit of a risky fight, and this is kind of a rogue special of I'm a very aggressive player on medic, so you can see I'm here a bit ahead of my team, but I know their team is focused on capping more than fighting, so I get to kind of choke up on the bat here.
Here, I guess, can you explain what it means to be an aggressive player on medic?
Of course. In general, the medic has no combat capabilities, so you rely on your teammates to keep you protected. However, there's a lot to be gained by healing people who are far forward and by taking more space on the map. So I kind of position myself very aggressively. I play farther forward, I play closer up, and I move faster than a lot of other medics who are much more reactive by comparison. I set the pace of the fights. I don't react to the pace of a fight.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Speaking of which, this is an overwhelming mistake actually, holding this Uber for so long without having the point. Even if our team wasn't ready, it would have been much stronger to use the Uber earlier and just get this exchange off the board. Get their Uber out too.
Oh, that looked really lucky. Wow.
Yeah, you have to, it's one of those things where if you make yourself unpredictable, then that's the kind of best way to not get shot, so flailing around is a great way to go. In downtime like this, when our team has won the fight, their team isn't really doing much, except maybe going for a medic pick would be great for them. So you saw I played very far back this time, like waiting and waiting until the rest of my teammates had come by.
Yeah, one thing I'm noticing especially, you kind of mentioned it earlier, but just constant spy checking.
Yep, I do a lot of mentoring and a lot of reviews, and I tell everyone I work with, if you're spy checking too much, I will tell you, and I've never once said it in my 8 years of TF2. See, this is an example of being aggressive. I was the one taking damage in this Uber, and then I decided we were using back in. But by doing so, we have so much ground still. Like, they had to use into me and look at me this entire time. Now, to finish these Ubers, we're still across the point holding the high ground into them. Now that their medic goes down, I know people are going to come for me, so it's time to spy check and also look up at the sky for people who are jumping.
Oh.
Yep.
Good timing. Oh, you guys are getting really aggressive here.
It's so wonderful to buy time on the clock just by, you know, making someone look at us for 3 seconds and then back up and go get a pack, you know. We still get to hold the point now. Even if we traded one player for it, it just buys space, which equates to time in Highlander. It was a bit poor that I wasn't looking up in that moment, but still having the sound cues from the soldier, you saw I was able to like jump and surf around that rocket there. In general, Sniper is the most important class to heal in Highlander. They're the one who's going to do these long-range damage and kills, so it's better than everyone else. And yeah, I would even like to keep my beam on the Sniper more and longer here, but of course we're getting spammed a bit now.
Yeah, and it looks like the fact that you kept your beam on your sniper is why you stayed alive there.
I'm taking this Uber backwards, seeing if there's anyone I can flash in. Finally, I catch the scout out of the corner of my eye, but I know the demo man isn't going to leave me, so by taking the Uber backwards, I get ready for anyone else who might need a flash.
Thank you for saying that right away, because I was going to ask.
Wow, this MCM is amazing, man. I'm so happy to be watching this demo. Look at how forward everyone's playing, right? Our heavy's getting aggressive, our soldiers up their ramp. This way, we know, like, we were locking out the doors before they even get there, so players can't even really sack into me because we're blocking the doors with our bodies, right? So you see, I haven't had to deal with anything yet, and I'm at 70% already.
Yeah, even though there's not too much going on, you're still being active and making sure that you're staying safe. I really like that.
Some medics would milk this Uber and like wait until they're forced, but for me, I don't want us to take any damage. I don't want to let them get some cap time. I don't want to drop anybody. So we actually use first into them, but we especially have so much time on the clock that even if we die and they cap, our spawns will be better. Because for anyone maybe new to Highlander, the team that has the point has longer respawns. So now that they've captured, you see our pyro is going to come up a bit faster, and we're ready for a refight right away. Another big important part of playing medic is having your teammates stand still and say arrow when they want an arrow. So you saw our scout walked up to me, stood perfectly still, and that was it. And he actually ended up dying, but you'll see that happen a lot when our teammates are ready for arrows. That way, I don't have to guess where they're going to move, and they don't have to guess when I'm shooting it or not. I always say, stand still, let go of your keyboard, then press E and say arrow to me over the microphone, and I'll hit it every time. This time I get the speed boost from my scout, and you see I still get the buffs at the end, but now I'm able to meet my demo right away.
Yeah, this is exactly what you were saying that you should do last time.
Yep.
Oh. Is there anything specific that went wrong there, or was that just a good bomb?
Yeah, I think their team recognized that they hit some very good early damage on our demo man and committed right away. So you saw that our demo man RJ, aka Bradman, had to back up, and yeah, as soon as our demo backed up, right, then they get to come even farther forward. So I think it was just well played by them. This map is a bit like old Granary, if anyone is as old as me, where medics like just die on that mid all the time. Here we went for a sack play, where they have full Uber and I was only on 20%, so we sent in a bunch of our players to go and die, basically, to try and kill or force their medic's Uber, which worked, as you saw the invisible players shooting up into the skybox, but normally I would leave out to spawn, but you saw here their Uber was so stuffed, and we had a lot of players alive, so I was able to stay. This actually is still aggressive, like their scout and soldier are committing into me, so other players would leave. Whew. But I like this kind of style where I'm ready to push back already. No time wasted, because time is the objective.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and a really good way of putting it.
Yeah, finishing very deep into them here. You see I'm a bit exposed, but I cleared the right side, and I am watching the left side, so I kind of know what I'm dealing with and how much time I have to leave. Interesting, that was kind of a bad play, and I wonder why I decided to leave. You saw that I had around 5 players on the point and like 1 on ramp, and I thought playing ramp would be safer. That's something that happens a lot. Of course, people want to stay in the back as medic, but which is, in general, the safest place to be, but being away from teammates is always dangerous. So it would have been much stronger of a play to be forward with my 5 people on point than to be back passive on ramp by myself or with just 1 engineer.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You just do you know any reason why you would have gone back at all, or is that just one of those things that just confuses you in retrospect?
It seems reasonable that we had some kind of respawner that I was going to meet, or someone called that the soldier was bombing, so I tried to just make more space between us, but yeah, you know, if you react in the way they expect you to react, then you make their life easier, right? So if I just leave in a straight line trying to run away from him, he knows that I'm trying to run away and knows where to shoot. So in general, like walking forward into soldier bombs is better, or playing up forward with my 5 teammates where I can't get bombed is a lot stronger. So yeah, nothing really jumps out at me, so
Hey.
oops.
Sounds about right. Oh, it looks like the other med died as well, so it didn't impact too much.
Yeah, that's a big salvage from my team. Anytime I die as medic, I am screaming, like slamming my keyboard, saying, call their medic, go for medic, they have ad, where's their medic, we're going for a play, you know, as soon as someone calls it. Because we must equalize these Ubers, or we're going to lose not just this couple seconds, but now a minute or something with their Uber ad. See, here's another example of being aggressive. My team was all behind me, but I knew that we were winning this fight. We had 2.5 picks on them. Our sniper was in a great position, so I stay, and I call everyone to come back to me. Other people would leave, which is another great play, but this is my play style personally. And which is, yeah, you can see kind of bites me here, where I think it was the right play to commit at the time, but that's when I switch and go into Shutter. If I had stayed in Shutter and waited for my team to win this fight, then we would have held this capture, actually. That would have been very strong, but yeah, I kind of was the hero for 5 seconds, but then I tried to be the hero again for another 5 seconds, and then actually died, and now we have full disad. So that was you see, like, kind of the risk paid off at first, and then the risk went way against me in the second half of that play.
Yeah, it seems like a risk reward that you definitely have to play smart and active. Yeah, I guess that's kind of the best way of putting it. You have to be active about it.
Right. So we got the force. Now this is what we call a dry fight, where there's no Ubers. We're just trading damage and trying to get space as best we can. You see we're dying here, which is, yes, happens, especially when they're on the high ground like that, but our spawns are better, so we want to take this fight. They happen to position themselves very well and collapse with their flank. We saw their heavy came out into us aggressively. Their spy and soldier committed at the same time onto us while we were coming through off of bats. So they countered our dry push very well. And now, yeah, we're in a bit of trouble here because they're coming up on Uber ad and only 10 seconds on the clock.
Yeah.
Look at that aggressive play. Wow.
Okay, we're almost near the end of the round, so I'll just ask it during the middle part.
Ooh, that positioning. Wow. So they're going to shoot at my teammates, and I can't really heal faster than the damage that's coming out. So I put myself, that's my crossbow on their side of the point. I put myself in a spot where people have to turn and look at me, and then whatever 150 damage they would do to my teammates, they're doing to me instead. I can't win this fight. I can't contribute to this fight. So the best thing I can do is enable my teammates to win, which some people think is giving just a little bit of 25 health per second, but here I'm like reducing 150 health in 2 seconds by standing here instead. So this is a crazy kind of play that, again, most medics will tell you do not do this, but I find a lot of benefit here by just drawing the eyes away from my teammates because, again, I can't do any damage in a crazy chaos last second fight like this.
On that respect, I actually, in terms of like me being a spy main, I actually recognize that quite a lot. Because there'll be plays towards the end of the round where I will just shoot at people to make them turn around, not actually to kill anybody. Where my whole goal is just to annoy them and make them not fight the point itself, essentially.
Bingo. That's why I'm so far away from the point. If I were just staying in a passive spot like in our shutter, our toxic, our crates, the enemies are still looking at me and my teammates at the same time. So whatever damage they shoot out is going to hit one of us. So I make them choose. Are you going to shoot me who's in the middle of nowhere for no reason? Or are you going to shoot the guy that's actually capping? So you can see I'm dead, but our pyro is still alive on 30 HP. Our scout's still alive on 10 HP. Our engineer is still alive on 30 HP. So combined, the damage that they did to me, they should have done to my teammates instead.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay. It looks like your team is... Oh, never mind. I was going to say they're taking a lot of cap time, but that got undone. The question I was going to ask a little bit ago is there any way for you in the slightest to counter somebody flanking, or is that just a good play on the enemy team?
Flanking in which context?
Earlier, your entire push kind of got screwed over just because the other team positioned themselves well. Like, is there anything against that? Or
yes, thank you. I remember the dry push where we fell off of bats.
Yes.
The first step in a dry push like this, or just with dealing with flankers, is we kind of want to take our time and, you know, kind of slow clear our half of the map, right? So if they had someone in our shutter, we take care of that, or someone stalling on our bats, we take care of that before we gave the 3-2-1 to commit. The second part is to go through multiple doors. So you saw we spent like 4 or 5 people off of bats. That was a mistake, actually. Instead, we should have sent 2 or 3 off of bats, 1 or 2 through shutter, maybe 2 or so off of ramp, maybe, and then one person like sack into them aggressively, things like that. So by splitting up, the enemies kind of can't get us all. But since we were just in a ball of 5 people, again, their job is cut out for them. The focus fire is obvious and immediate. Just shoot the medic or shoot the demo, because shooting the medic is shooting the demo and vice versa.
1 second. I'm gonna wait until my roommate's done before I talk, so I can not have background noise when I'm doing my thing.
Sure.
Oh, well, that kind of sucks.
I gotta eat, homie.
Well, yeah. How long will you be?
I don't know, I'm making pasta. Why?
Okay.
How long do you need? I can wait, I guess.
Yours will probably be faster, but I'll just not talk a lot.
You can talk. I'm not gonna make that much noise.
I don't know how much the mic picks up.
Why don't you ask them?
Discord's not gonna pick up the same that the.
Oh,
Never mind. I'm just gonna. We're good. It'll be fine.
cool. It won't take me that long. I can put my headphones
So yeah, thank you for explaining that and the steps around it. Here, let's move on to the next round. We're 1-1 tied right now.
All right, and this is map 2, where I believe we lost map 1, so we have to take a win here. Otherwise, yeah, we lose this round of the grand finals. It is double elimination, of course, so we get another shot. I believe we get the upper seed.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it looks like you've taken a lot of damage already, and then you died before I could say it.
Yeah, that was a case of just being too aggressive. That was I needed to really just sit on our demo, but you saw we had a really fast commit, so I thought our team would be farther forward, right? We called for an aggressive play, our soldier flew in, our spy decloaked right away, but by the time I turned around to look at our team like, where are you guys? Everyone had 30 HP each, so it would have been much more of a solid play to just sit with the beam on our demo and follow their pace rather than setting it myself.
So that kind of loops back to the whole you have to play this playstyle smart, right? Ooh, speaking of.
Yeah, that was a 6 stab. I always say too, you know, some people like to nitpick every death and say how it could have been avoided or what you could have done different, but to me, like, that was such a human time to die. I was spy checking like crazy. I had 4 teammates around me, all just doing nothing but spy checking, and I died anyway, so fair play. Vizzy, their spy did really well, and nothing much to say on that one, huh?
I can do it later.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, once again, sorry, I missed the entire end of that, because roommate again. What were you saying? I got the first half and I missed the second half, so I have to reply somehow.
Sure. Yeah, I think
Otherwise we could literally just move on and ignore that.
Oh, that's fine too. I don't care, but yeah, all I said really is like that was a very human time to die. Like I was spy checking, I had 4 people around me also spy checking, and I still die. So there's nothing to say. It just happens, and Vizzy played very well in that instance. You know, sometimes you just have to tip your hat.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Okay, it looks like your team is starting to get more aggressive here.
I like to call it that I'm playing like an owl, where my head is on a swivel as I'm looking forward, backward, left, right, up, down. Who is flanking around me, above me? Is a spy decloaking behind me? This one, I think, actually my positioning was pretty good, but the problem is my team kind of like came through the door and then stood next to me. We needed to take the fight to them. Instead, we sort of stood still and let all these flankers focus fire on us. So I think if the team had played a bit farther forward, we'd be in a bit better spot there.
It seems like in general a big thing that you've been talking about consistently throughout this that you've been really enjoying is just aggression in general. Like not just from you, but like your team and all of that.
Absolutely. The majority of medic play is positioning. So, I mean, the heal targets are a bit important, and I mean, what else is there? Crossbow aim, right? So my positioning and what I'm doing, Ubers, I guess. But my positioning is what I'm contributing to the team. So I have to take what the team is doing and make my position based off that, but I also have to anticipate what will happen next and have that as like an addition to what decisions I'm making for my positioning. So that's why I'm explaining, hey, the situation seems dangerous, but I know what's going to happen next, so I'm staying. Or, this situation seems fine, but I know what's going to happen next, so I should leave now. So that, I think, is the most, I think that's the thing that's most worth talking about when we're going over a medic demo.
Yeah, that, one thing I want to point out quick is that this is pre-Scorch Shot ban. As you can see from the Scorch Shot happening there.
So here, this is kind of a ballsy play where we're trying to take the point for free. They actually should have fed more players into us because they had disad and tried to stop the cap. But we said, screw it, come and stop us if you really have what it takes, and they didn't. Now that we clear up that flanker behind us, I'm able to move forward. Healing people who are going to, like, do the most is one of the hardest parts of playing medic. Where, for example, our heavy having an extra buff will tank a ton of damage when the enemies commit. Or these people on the roof are the ones really taking point and calling where the enemies are coming from, so they would love some more heals as well. Now, I absolutely cannot drop my demo because we're about to Uber exchange, so the demo gets most of the beam. So within 1 second, the best person to be healing changes multiple times even. There was another backwards Uber, right, where I saw my pyro flying above my head, and oh, I love this play. Did you see that? Marty is one of the best pyros, I think. Well, we sent him flying forward, but he drew again, like 4 people looked backwards at Marty, and that allowed me to kind of survive in this post-Uber past my expiration date. And even now, buying all this time with Tsukima on heavy playing very, very well, keeping me protected while doing damage and staying part of the fight. This is like, we're stealing this time. We're freaking bandits somehow getting more time on the clock. We have been losing this fight now, Maven, for like 20 seconds. That's just the power of like playing aggressive and my playstyle and how I'm calling to my team, where I'm like, I don't care if I die. Keep getting time. Walk forward. Make them look at you. Do something. Make them go get a pack, you know? And by doing that this whole time, now we're still holding. We're on another Uber. So I was basically dying that entire time, but wow, what a play. And this is in Grand Finals, by the way, against the... Like, their flanker is crazy. They're on JJ and Syaf. Some of the best to ever do it. So I'm really enjoying this demo. Thanks.
You're welcome. I'm glad we could have you explaining it all. That looked like a force, from what I could tell.
Yeah, that was a case where I wasn't looking up enough. I definitely made a mistake. I also think dropping is better than popping almost in that situation, where it's just heresy for a lot of medics that are, you know, well studied in medical lore and all that around the scene. But sometimes it's better to risk the drop just because I don't want to, you know, by using, I didn't really get anything. Like, I didn't keep anyone alive that wouldn't have lived already. We didn't get any space. We didn't get any objective. It was nothing. So, like, even just for me to die and respawn after 12 seconds versus the 8-second of the Uber, it's almost the same, right? So that's a situation where dropping it is actually kind of better than popping it. But that being said, you know, that also gives our team a lot of initiative where you, like, inspire them to push, which we don't want to do necessarily either. They should have been pushing already, even with me milking the Uber or forcing whatever. But, yeah, that's why it's at least debatable whether I should have, like, willingly dropped that Uber, or risked dropping it, I should say, or forcing like I did.
In that instance where you force, would it be better to just flash as many people as possible to get rid of it, like, as fast as possible, or...
Actually, yes.
Because that was my first thought when you said that 8 seconds of Uber is about the same time as a respawn time. But you could limit that amount of time that's you're Ubering and not building Uber by just flashing everybody.
Very true. Sometimes you kind of come up with a salvage play where, like, oh, hey, actually I can flash my demo and soldier, and they'll go jump into the enemy bats or something and do some kind of crazy play, or like, ooh, I'll flash my pyro and heavy into the enemy shutter. So we are still, like, even though it was a spur of the moment force, we still get to take like 2 or 3 seconds to say, can we do something with this? Here the answer was no, but that's why at least, by the time we take those 2 or 3 seconds to think about it, the Uber is mostly over anyway. So you are definitely right. And for example, on Swiftwater defense on second, that's really important to finish your Uber as quick as possible. But here on King of the Hill, especially being surrounded with some of the best teammates in the world, right? I know someone can come up with something. So if I can enable them, then I want to do that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm just waiting for the comments to just flood the comment section of like, I dropped because Rogue told me to.
Do it. That's actually kind of like a running joke in the invite is we all talk about how much of like a Chad we all are for willingly dropping Ubers when our teammates are too dumb to save us.
You're just too Chad for everyone. That's what it is. I'm gonna get so many players telling me that it's your fault that they dropped Uber.
I try and say it casually too when I do reviews with you know, different divisions. I'm like, it's much better to drop here, and every single time people don't get what that means, or like I try and like test them to see, are they going to ask me what I mean? But of course I explain anyway, and it's just kind of funny. But I think you kind of see here where this one, honestly, forcing was kind of a bit better, but still it's ambiguous. In other cases it's straight up way better. You know, like in a 9v1 where we have full ad and it's just their soldier, like, do not force there ever, no matter what. Even if you're
Yeah.
going to drop or something, like there's like a 1% chance that you could milk this Uber and survive on 1 HP. Take that chance.
Oh, it looks like your scout just went down.
Mission ends in 30 seconds.
In general on Ashville, if you're not sure if you should fight from ramp, just go Shutter every time. It's always a great play. Because either you're halfway out already and you get to actually leave, or you get a much better recommit from like a central area.
Hey! No!
These guys, I mean, it's hard to explain, I think, when you haven't like dealt with it yourself. But when you're playing against someone like Jay, someone like Demento, someone like Lenny, someone like Soapy Meister, if these people want you dead, then you are dead. So like just the fact that I got a bow off on Syath and like, yeah, bought a little bit of time of existence left before dying to Spy anyway. Like, yeah, you take whatever you can get. You'll see the quick fix here, by the way.
Oh, yeah! So what's the reasoning for the quick fix? Just that you're almost out of time?
Yes, there's not enough time for an Uber, and here it's just going to be trading a ton of damage.
That makes a lot of sense. So I guess it kind of works that you die, you know? It was a good play.
All according to plan.
No! Oh, that death to the Spy, though, was a roller coaster. I was so excited right before it.
As medic, try and jump and crouch whenever you're going. You saw I was able to surf that sticky and get a little bit extra farther forward. This time, yeah, I'm like learning with every mid. This time I just put my beam on my demo and sit there. Here, of course, like I said, when you're playing against the best of the best, if they want you dead, you're just dead, man. Like, so JJ did a really like kind of a lower bomb and did well, but huge play from our engineer onto the medic.
Yeah.
Right? That's another moment I'm like, I'm dead. Find Blake. Where is Blake? Go for Blake. And then our engineer gets the pick.
Specifically Blake, it doesn't matter what class he's playing.
Oh, yeah, sorry. We use everyone's names, I think, when we're playing, because we've played against everyone for years and years, right? Yeah, find their medic. Call their medic. Go for their medic. Here's an example where now our demo is like doing a little bit of work clearing off the high ground. Our sniper's making a little bit of space. This is a bit low. But yeah, now we should be spreading out even more, I think. Like, we again sent 5 people through the same door, but it was better than last time. Massive bomb from their soldier where, like, you can see how much it delayed us and how hurt we are. Like, even though he just went and died with a worse respawn timer, we're still only just now getting cap time, and that was all because of JJ on soldier.
Yeah, this is once again looping back to my previous praise of just how well you're constantly spy checking.
You can never do it too much. I spy check when the spy's dead because I have to keep the habit. If I ever drop the habit, then I will drop the Uber. This is horrible positioning, by the way. This is something like, it's kind of a barometer of how good a medic is by how much they stand on ramp. Perhaps they don't, I mean, stand on ramp. I should be toxic or point or at the very back of red, not even on this area at all. This is just like a lot of mistakes. I'm choreographing right where I am. The enemies have such an easy way to get me. Yeah, that was very poor play out of me by staying there for so long. I should have rotated sooner or backed up sooner, either way. So yeah, that exchange came out, and again, we kind of salvaged. And again, now I'm just screaming to our scout and soldier, go die. Like, make people fight you. Now our soldier is, like, somehow alive still, but yeah, they only have times 1 on the point, where you saw, again, we lost that fight, but we were able to buy, like, 11 seconds on the clock here. 7 seconds on the clock there. So by the time a round is getting to the end, we, like, cheated our way into, like, an extra 40 seconds or something per round by just playing as forward and aggressive as we are. Even though I risked my own life, you know, 40 seconds is a lot of time, cumulatively.
So I do want to ask about something that you said there. So generally, the common consensus is that you shouldn't feed, but you said that you explicitly told players to go die. Can you explain that for newer players that might not understand?
So this is already a losing fight. I mean, this fight is over. We lost the point. It's done. We're in something like, I think it was a 4v7. So we have no hopes of winning that fight. By the time my team would hypothetically all walk me all the way back to spawn, that takes basically just as long as it would take for them to die, right? Don't forget, we get faster spawns when the enemy caps the point. So by sending in my teammates, one of 2 things will happen. Either my teammates just die right away instantly and they get to respawn and be next to me anyway by the time I get back, or they actually stall the enemies, or maybe even get some picks that will delay the enemy team's players. So there's a lot to be gained by well, there's basically nothing to lose, and there's a couple things to gain by feeding in a time like this. Because we can't forget, this is an objective-based game, right? Technically, kills don't matter, deaths don't matter. What matters is getting time on the clock and winning the round. So if these 2 people can stall their 7 players for even like 8 seconds each, that's accumulating more and more time on the clock, like we've been discussing. So by these guys just completely throwing their lives away, we get a little bit of a boost, maybe. But by walking all the way back, it's like they use their lives for nothing anyway.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you for pointing it out. All right, let's keep going. Okay, so it looks like you're pushing right away back in through Shutter too.
This is a nice dry commit where I'm ready to go in if my team starts winning, but I'm also ready to leave if my team starts losing. You do see we come up on the Uber a bit before them. We took a little too much damage losing our scout beforehand, but you see again I'm taking the Uber backwards, ready to flash someone in. Sending a pyro deep like that is really nice to lock out that area. Huge spy checking. Again, they know they lost the point, so they're ready to just throw people at me, throw bodies at me, because they have nothing better to do with their time. Now that my heavy's here is an example, I should be in Toxic right now. Probably he should too. Yeah, you can see I'm taking the same damage as my teammates, and wow, I completely deserve that death. Look, the soldier was on 20 HP and I still died. Yeah, that just goes to show, like, standing on ramp just makes you bad. There's no good way to do it. I could have been really passive at the back where they can't hit me, or I could have been really far forward where they would have to basically die to put 30 damage into me each. So, yeah, very poor play. Unfortunate. This is a bit risky. Some teams would say to wait while, the medic is coming back up, while I'm getting more teammates, I mean. But I know we got to fight now, because if I delay a little too long and we don't start this fight sooner than later, we're going to lose the round, because they have less than a minute left now. When we're on roof, we're on bats like this, it's big to think about who can do something, right? The soldier can go and bomb and do something. The demo can spam the roof, but your pyro and heavy can't do anything, so really healing them basically at all is a waste of your time and theirs. So we wait for Uber instead of drive fighting, which I think is a bit of a mistake. And here I kind of hate this play, right? Our scout went a little different way. We're milking this Uber a little too long. We should have been ready to use when I was at 100. Actually, this post was kind of nice. You saw we went forward and made sure that Uber flashed at least some people, and then basically all of us turned around. Nice shot. Basically all of us turned around to fight the people behind. So that was a, yeah, just like kind of a heads up play where we had like 7 players looking forward, then our 7 players looking backwards, and then once back was cleared again, we looked forward again. But here we're all doing the same thing all the time.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing I'm noticing most is that coordination there.
Yeah, by the way, that was a pretty bad reaction to that soldier bombing where you saw I got hit kind of bad. But I was using a little bit of the sound cues, so you could see me jump and crouch to try and surf in time with the sound of the rockets rather than seeing him. But I should have been looking, of course. So now we have full ad. Some people like to play passive here, but I don't even want to let the enemies in, right? We talked about the aggression like locks out the doors. That soldier can't even get close to me. He has to go somewhere else. Yeah, and the spy has to fight a 1v7, so this is what aggression does on King of the Hill. There it is. There's the play. You couldn't even see it. I knew it was coming in this demo, and I still didn't see it. Demento, can you pause, actually?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So Demento on Sniper came all the way through lower with a full charge body shot onto me. So he came out of our side lower and dropped me on medic completely. Now, this game is basically over now. Like, Demento just won this for his team. He our team has no hope of holding this anymore. There's 0 seconds left. Demento like secured the bracket reset. So first I want to address, like, you know, in a lot of demo reviews, it's like, what could we have done different? What should we have been doing better? It gets to a point sometimes where Demento is just so good at Highlander, and he got so lucky that he was able to get through there that there really wasn't anything different for us to do. I talked about not playing on ramp, but even if I was toxic, actually it would have been easier for him to do that. And on top of that, yeah, like, so that was like just really, really well done out of him. Not that we made any huge particular mistake. But now that means for everyone, all the folks at home, like, we basically have to throw everything we know about Highlander out the window. Like, we're going to lose this round. We must somehow salvage this round. I mean, even if we get the cap, Blake will have Uber add on me. He's already at 64%. So this round, as far as we know, and this match and this map is basically over. Oh, excuse me. I thought this was, yeah, it is. Exactly.
Yeah.
They have
if they win this round... Yeah, if they win this round, they win the whole thing. I'm just pulling up the scoreboard so people can see the rounds for sure here.
Thank you. Yeah, I forgot again that we played to 3 in King of the Hill at this point in time in RGL history. So, yeah, well, let's see how we salvage.
This is finals. So you play best of 3 instead of best of 4?
I think recently we've sometimes been gentleman'sing best of 4 instead, but yeah, maybe it's still the rule. I'm not sure.
I don't know. My team hasn't made it to playoffs in a while.
I see. No worries.
There you go. And let's do this.
Mission ends in 30 seconds.
Oh, there's the quick fix.
Step 1 of the salvage, yeah. I know we're not getting an Uber, so I can give more heals like this. Wow, and our sniper's dead. Blake has Uber. This round is basically over. All they have to do is cap once. And I'm shoving myself forward. Look how aggressive I am. Even now, I'm still kind of lingering around the point and staying forward. I want them to be shooting at me. Yeah, here, look at this. I even missed who I actually died to. There was so much damage. But I drew so many eyes. There were 4 people in Shutter looking at me and our heavy. And there was this guy who, like, jumped me on our ramp instead of shooting the actual people holding point. So I had to go in and basically get everyone to look at me so I could die so that they could survive and actually do damage. Because if I, like, hid and baited my teammates and let them take the damage, we lose that round. This match is over. They win the bracket reset, and we're on even footing for the next round of grands. Wow. You can see the second that our sniper gets their sniper, I cross. I was a bit slow to this mid. I like to say if there's any reason on Ashville that you think you shouldn't leave Shutter, then you don't actually have to.
I don't know why, but the medic heal beam is not really showing up. Hasn't really done that all demo. Like, it shows up for a second and then goes away. I don't know. Personal note.
You see there's a lot of us moving forwards and backwards. Like, we moved forward to point and then backed up a little bit. Now we're going back in and leaving again. By, first of all, having good communication and coordination, we can flow between these holds. But also, it makes it harder for me to get bombed. Like, if I'm always in the same spot, they know how to coordinate on me. But if I'm randomly in different spots, they can't find me all the time.
What a milk.
Some teams actually opt to drop their heavy there and have, like, a gift from God kind of Uber, which is really cool. I chose to save our heavy, you could see, and maybe on slight disad, but yeah, they didn't have enough high ground in the post to do anything with it. Yeah, actually throwing those arrows was like a little bit bad. Now here it's fine because he's an active, like a war zone. Right, but when we were kind of safely behind our own ramp, like in a time like this, I should actually be building and not arrowing. Because if Blake were building better, then I would actually have like 15% disad in this situation. You basically always heal roof people if you're near them. You want to support the people who are doing something, like our sniper in the Shutter, our demo in the Shutter. You know, if it wasn't a sight line for me to cross to them, I would be healing them, but that's where you can even see me, like, tracking them with my body language and my crosshair.
So is that you getting baited with everyone else kind of staying way behind you, or is that you being aggressive? That one was hard to tell because it seemed like a lot of people backed up there.
Ideally, we have one, maybe two people kind of take point, right? And take the brunt of my Uber, but also stall the enemy for the brunt of their Uber. What you saw was me and our demo and our pyro and our heavy, like the four of us kind of saying, we're all in this, but we all want to live and post. So that was just one, maybe two too many people. I think if I had picked one person and stayed on them and like maybe flashed another, we would have been okay. But for a heavy to run all the way out and pyro to leave and demo to leave, it was just too much.
Yeah, it makes sense.
This is a bit risky. Like, I was kind of too fast coming down here, but I think the call should be, yeah, to fly forward and keep moving. Because once I'm in here, I'm, like, going to die unless we move forward.
Okay, yeah, this is exactly what you were talking about. Your demo is getting aggressive, and then there's people back there staying alive and able to apply support during the fight. Oh, yeah, and that one went much better, too.
Yeah, no kidding. The people coming back into the fight, even some of them have crit heals, right? They take no damage while the Uber's happening, and then they collapse in the post. This is a big time to be healing sniper. It's pretty bad that I'm not. Yeah, maybe, oh, no, the sniper just died, but... Yeah, again, you have to think who are the people who can do something, right? When there are two people up, our heavy's not going to help, but our sniper can reach all the way to their bats. Don't forget to have your teammates call arrow and let go of their keyboard. That's why I was able to hit my soldier. So here, again, normally teams would back up, but I know we can win this. We're coming up on the Uber. If we just, like, scare them away. Wow! They don't even get close to the point. Alright, that was pretty sick. We, yeah. Like, yeah, you saw me on 84%. I walked in front of my team, and, like, I could tell just from my own body language, I'm screaming, like, walk forward. We're going to get Uber. Even if one or two of you die, we're going to have such a better Uber than them. And I actually don't know if they even capped that round. They went from Demento winning that game for them and us so barely salvaging it the last second to now us completely steamrolling in this last round. Maybe we took the wind out of their sails or they got at each other's throats. But that, yeah, that's how we ended up turning this game around and, spoiler, winning the entire grand finals match in the rest of this match here.
Yeah, that was a really good match to watch and a fantastic demo to review, especially with all the like exciting close calls, the stuff to learn from, as well as like all just the talking points you brought up as well. That was just a fantastic demo to watch.
Thank you. I'm very grateful. If any of the folks at home enjoyed this demo, of course I have a channel where I do demo reviews all the time. I'm sure Maven will be kind enough to leave a link down below.
Definitely. Do you have any shout-outs, plugs outside of that, or anything that you want to bring up?
Oh, man. Shout out to MCM. This was such a great game, and I'm surrounded by really wonderful teammates. Shout out to Demento, honestly, for straight up winning that game and then still getting the L anyway. Yeah, and shout out to you and RGL for having me here. I thought this was such a great series, and I was so excited when I saw the first installation, and yeah, I hopped in the DMs right after, so I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you hopped in my DMs immediately. Immediately. But yeah, thank you for coming on. Everybody, thank you for watching. Sub for more. Blah 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 blah. Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna end the video now.